Come on. Your power and your wisdom till the nations see Jesus lifted up, exalted, 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 lifted up, exalted, 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 lifted up, exalted. Oh, breathe, Lord. Breathe, breathe, Lord. Just the way your breath came upon dry bones and they came alive. Breathe, Lord. Breathe. This is my hands, breathe upon it. Upon my head, breathe upon it. Upon my mind, breathe upon it. Upon my spirit, man, breathe upon it. Upon my gifting, breathe upon it. Shabraka paladisa. Ratakabali hatakemene keteni mabala hada kashana. Shabrada makapala brikesene. Broka pala di sheneman brigade ketele braka pena gete kisana makatele. Braka pena bekatele bapada gete kapena brikatele brikapena bekatele bakapena kete kete. Zikapena brikapena brikapena brakapena kete kete kete. Let miracles be released in this house. Let miracles be released in this house. Breathe, 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 breathe. That the nations will see Jesus. That the nations will see the hand of God in our midst and in our lives. That Jesus be glorified in our midst and in our lives. That Jesus be glorified in our midst and in our lives. Let your wisdom and your power be made available to this house. We are in dear need of a miracle. We are in dear need of a miracle. My Father, my God, come through for your people. 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 Come through for your children. Come through for this house, my Father. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. Chinos, are you carrying a baby? You're about to prophesy, and it's going to start in tongues. But when it's done, the interpretation will be given to you to interpret what you have said. So I'm going to count to 3, and the Lord is going to speak to you. I'm going to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Come on.
you. Are you not saying it? Because in this season, I'm opening your eyes, and you will have wisdom in your mouth for kings. You will have wisdom in your mouth for kings. They will listen to you with their jaws dropped, and from them will come the wealth. They are coming to you. 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 Listen, this time is effortless. This time is effortless. This time is effortless. You have tried for years and seasons. This is the season when I will make it happen myself.
You know, I wonder why you've not walked into this step. I wonder why you've not walked into help us sit. Help us sit. Help us sit. Yeah. Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? Please write it down for me. I need to hear that. But the Lord was pointing me to you again and says that you've not awoken to that reality, that you have that same gift, but you've not awoken to that reality. Come. Stand here. Close your eyes, Ma. And here. Print on. You'll be able to interpret. Yes. Yes. Just guide them. Interpret. It's going to give you the understanding. You have it. You can interpret it. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Mr. Job, interpret. Just stay. You get the interpretation. You get the meaning of what you just said. Stay there. Mr. Job, tell him to come inside. Yeah. Come inside. Stand by the wall. Pray there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Giving you everything.
Hmm?
Oh, everything is in your hand. I've given you seeds. Look nowhere is in me.
Speak. Speak.
It's in you. I'm giving you. It's in you. It's in you. You need to take it, activate it. Oh, second. It's in you. It's in you. It's in you. I've told you. I've told you. Oh, you're not forgotten. Oh,
Thank you.
oh.
Thank you. Thank you. Help her when it's done. Sometime around my birthday, I started trusting God for something. God told me, why are you trusting me for? It is there. You just need to see it, teach them, and wake them to that reality. Sometimes I'm going to be doing things like this. I'm going to be waking you up to what you carry and you don't even know. Sam, I can't hear you. Sit. Some of you, I'm going to be giving you some kind of the atmospheres. Hajara, come. I'm going to give you a little bit of my atmosphere I carry in my place of prayer. Some of you are going to start having the kind of encounters I have in my place of prayer. Yeah, pray in tongues. Just pray in tongues. That's all. Nothing much. I just need you close. Miracles are real. Pray in tongues, Hachara. Miracles are real. And I don't know. I don't think I will do that next week, Wednesday. I was thinking I will go there. I don't think so. So let me say something a little bit here. Two things about miracles. Number one, the believer is not so much created to live by miracles. The believer is not so much created or is a believer just to live in realms of miracles. Because most of the times you experience miracles are for certain challenges or crisis. That's when you will need miracles. So the believer is supposed to live in the blessing. That's why when you read Genesis chapter 1, the first thing God spoke to man was not miracles, was the blessing. Number two about miracles is that miracles are now divine interventions, so that even when you are living in the blessing, because there are times you can still be in the will of God and still go through a storm. Are you getting? There are times you can still be in the will of God but still go through a major crisis. So in the midst of that, God now stands again as a witness for you for divine interventions, so that now miracles are those things that show up in the midst of the blessing where you are going through a challenge and takes you from that point and moves you. It gives you a divine push from the place where you are and what you're going through to the place where you ought to be. So I need you to understand this. But in understanding, yes, we are supposed to live in the blessing, but that doesn't mean miracles are not real. And I started by teaching you on Sunday that for supernatural supplies or provision, two things. Number one, work. But if all you have is work and there is no place for the supernatural, you are just like the ordinary man that has no hope upon the face of the earth. Because how much will you be able to save because you are working in order to achieve certain things? Certain things must come by favor. Certain things must come by the supernatural. There are certain connections that must happen in your life. Certain destiny helpers must come into your life, because there is no how you can rise by yourself. No matter what you think you know, you can't. So in order for those things to happen, in order for certain doors to open for you, in order for you to rise in life, there must be the hand of God at work in your life. The supernatural must play out in your life. So if you have a business space and your profit is always 25,000 naira every day, if you are not careful, let me even use somebody who has a provision store. A provision store, most times if you are not careful, you will eat your capital without even knowing. You just notice that your shop is empty. Now, you have to eat from there. But you see, there must be the supernatural hand of God in the midst of that business, that though you are taking from there to give to your children milk in the morning, give them bread, take care of one or two things, but yet the shop is growing. It has to be supernatural. If you just leave it that because you do business in Gwalameji and you are waiting for only people in Gwalameji to come and buy your things, you might not have the kind of profits that you are looking for. It will take the supernatural hand of God for somebody from far, not knowing why, but they'll just drive to that place. And none of a sudden, they just want to buy something. And they just enter your shop. Or somebody driving, let's say, with his convoy, driving from Tafa Balewa or somewhere from Jos back, and is coming this way. And somehow just decides to stop for no reason. And when he comes, what he buys from you will make up your profit for 3 months. As believers, we must grow to that place where we don't downplay the supernatural in our lives. We must get to that place where, I've been telling myself I want to invite him. The last time he was in Bauchi, he was somewhere in the Air Force. I wish Doctor was here, he will have confirmed. Him and, what's this? Is a brigadier now, Brigadier Moyo and Pastor Arome. One day they preached on wealth and the miraculous like this, like joke. People were coming out of their house and seeing money in front of their door. An expectation. These things are real. These things are possible. But if you don't expect them, you will not see them. Miracles are supernatural interventions for God to show his power and his ability in your life. Miracles means that these things don't make sense to the common man. And if you try to be logical and try to be sensible about it, you will cut yourself short. You will not experience it. Miracles bypass human thinking. Miracles. I've told you one time when I got my first car, I don't know, but I used to look for trouble with that car. I can just enter the road because I know that when I match it, when you match a car, it just jacks up like this and moves. I used to do that a lot. I remember traveling with my wife to Kaduna. I can't ever forget. It was our first trip. So I wanted to show her, I mean, this car, they move, and I'm a good driver. If you've ever traveled, I was following, which road was I following? Yeah, the Manchok side and all that. There's a side that the turn is a little, it's a very sharp bend, and I was doing 140, 160. I refused to step on the brakes. And actually, we were worshiping inside the car. Actually, we were just playing songs, singing, dancing, just worshiping. And I got to that place. I almost entered the bush. I don't know what happened, but I almost entered. And she told me, you see, stop this thing. No. When we came back to the road, I will match this car. The car did not move more than 100. I will match it. I'm seeing the speedometer is reading and it's staying at 100, no matter how much I match it. And God opened our eyes, both of us, and we saw an angel sitting on the engine to ensure our safety, even in my stupidity. I'm telling you, no matter how I matched it, it did not move. God just opened our eyes, and our journey just changed because our worship now became deeper. We now knew that we were not alone. There was an angel sitting at the back with us in the car. There was one sitting in the engine in front. And that's how we were driving. No matter how I matched it, it was 100. Until I got home. These things are real. I was living with a pastor over 20 years ago. I was living with a pastor, and his family traveled, and they wanted to surprise him. His wife and his children wanted to surprise him. They didn't tell us they were coming. I was at home with him. They were coming from Lagos, and they came by bus to Jos. And I remember him praying in tongues. I could hear him from his room. He was really praying in tongues. And before you know what was happening, by the evening, these children and the mom walked in. And he was shocked. You people did not tell me you were coming back and all that. And the boy says, Daddy, guess what happened? The youngest boy. See, it looks like our driver slept off. And the only thing we could tell was that everybody was shouting Jesus because the bus was headed to a ditch. He said, are you serious? I said, yes. He asked the woman, he said, what time? And the woman said, somewhere about, it was the same time he was praying in tongues. And she said, and the children concurred, that they show a hand lifting the bus out. Instead of entering the ditch, it lifted it out and brought the bus back to the road. No scratch, nothing happened to it, brought it back. You see, when people are sharing this kind of testimonies, your mind, your logic mind can be telling you, it's a lie now, how can they be telling you that? That's why all these pastors will just be brainwashing you, didn't they? Wait until you're on the road one day and you need a miracle. Because you don't believe. You don't believe. And you will think that they are just brainwashing you, they are just telling you one funny story. It's not so. Be careful when people try to get you to a point, or you notice that you're getting to a point where you're becoming so intelligent for the things of God. Be careful. When you think that God can no longer do miracles, listen to me. At times people just think that they are wise. They think that they can explain God. They try to downplay the supernatural power of God. They try to make it, in the first place, why do you go to church?